The home team stays hot. The Knicks grab a 1-0 series lead over the Cavaliers. It's their first lead at any point in the conference final since 1999, and Jeff Van Gundy was their head coach. They won that series in 6 games over the Reggie Miller-led Pacers. That was before high definition for the youngsters. New York's comeback, one for the ages, second largest fourth-quarter comeback since we began tracking this in 1998. The only larger comeback came in the first round, the Clippers against the Grizzlies. We're in conference finals, so the stakes are more significant. The Knicks have dominated at various points this postseason, but never quite the way they did on the way to a 44-11 run to end it on Tuesday. They went 15 for 21 from the floor in that span. Meanwhile, Mitchell and Harden combined to go 1 for 10. Knicks get the win. Joined now from the Garden by Tim Legler, site of really an astounding comeback. And Tim, you're sitting there courtside. What allowed the Knicks to do what they did, and what allowed Cleveland to melt in the fashion in which they did?
Well, you know, Scott, we've made so much about the Knicks offense and changing it up and putting Karl-Anthony Towns more at the top and facilitating. And a lot of that is true during this run they've had over the last 7 games. But when push came to shove, and game 1 was on the line, they went back to Jalen Brunson, middle of the floor, hunt who you want, and just go to work. And the Cavs at that point with a big lead started out saying, you know what, we're going to let him operate one-on-one, even if it is against James Harden, the matchup he would like, because we're not going to allow three-point shots, because that's how you really make that type of a comeback. Problem was Brunson made like 5 shots in a row, and now you get it to a workable margin with enough time. The decision to double team then comes. It opens three-point shooters. It opens drives for OG Anunoby out of the double team. So really, it all comes down to Jalen Brunson unlocking the Knicks offense and doing it really single-handedly, and then just reading it from that point on. This was a superstar putting a team on his back, refusing to accept that they were going to lose this game.
I'm with that, but on the other side, you have a superstar in Donovan Mitchell, and it felt like Cleveland didn't look to him. I don't get that. What do you make of that seeming absence from Mitchell? And more than anything, it was that he wasn't the guy that had the ball in his hands a lot.
Well, I think he got his ankle rolled up on late. I don't know if that was a factor. He was still on the court, but it was bizarre to me, if he's on the floor, that you're not initiating with him. He had an efficient night the entire night, and he's coming off of a Game 7 in which he played incredibly well. So that's where you go. That's your star. I know you've got James Harden as well, but James Harden did not have a night where he was scoring the basketball. He was turning it over a little bit. He can still break you down. But when you see that game start to get away from you, to me, it's got to be in the hands of Donovan Mitchell, and let him go decide how this game is going to end offensively for the Cavs. They just didn't get there. And then I'm going to tell you, I did see some three-point shooters across the board for the Cavs look tight on some of those looks that they had that really could have stopped that Knicks run and stalled some of that momentum. They didn't look comfortable. Seemed like they wanted the clock to run out once they had that big lead, and the aggressive mindset shifted to the Knicks. They smelled it, they went after it, they got it.
Yeah, it felt like Mike Breen might have had the bang halfway loaded, but Merrill's shot comes out, and New York rides the momentum to a victory. They grab game 1. Tim, appreciate the time. Visit with you throughout stops they got, and the ball starts going in. They made 13 of their last 14. We're watching it upstairs. Man, how'd that happen?
Well, one, you got to give a lot of credit to Mike Brown, because this new offensive system that he's put in, especially, you know, at the start of the Atlanta series where Karl-Anthony Towns is running that point forward, you have so much spacing, right? And that allows Jalen Brunson to go to work and get those isolations. And it's hard to send a double team because now they have so much spacing and they have so much shooting on the floor, especially with Karl-Anthony Towns. But then they hung their hats on the defensive side of the basketball, right? We give a lot of credit to the Knicks for being a good offensive team, but they've been great this postseason defensively, and I got to tip my hat to them because they've been getting stops when they need to get stops, and they've been hanging their hats on the defensive side.
I appreciate Karl-Anthony Towns saying we thought we could win all night. Of course.
Right.
What else is he going to say? But you're down 22, and they can't make a bucket, man. When did you start to think, man, this could be, because Steve asked, Could they get it to 10? It was like 94-84, I want to say is what it was. And then Brunson starts hitting threes, and the Garden starts going crazy. And I'm just when you're on the right side of it, it feels great. But Cleveland could just I can't imagine what that feeling is like. When did you think it could happen?
Well, the biggest thing is when you're on the road, you want to keep the crowd out of the game. And once we saw the crowd get rowdy, and all of a sudden you started to see the energy in the arena and the guys on the floor started to get life, you knew that they had an opportunity to win that basketball game. And all of a sudden, role players, Landry Shamet, they play better at home. And we started to see Mikal Bridges. He got stops. He got timely buckets, hitting big-time threes along with big body Brunson do what he does best, and that's being one of the best closers in the game, Scott.
They went after Harden, didn't they?
Oh, I was waiting on that. Again, when the pressure is on, we watch Harden and the Cleveland Cavaliers fold like clean sheets. And I got to give a lot of blame to Harden and Kenny Atkinson. One, for having Harden on the floor. Like, he was a defensive liability for them all in that fourth quarter. Big body Brunson, 7 for 8 in the fourth in overtime when James Harden was defending them. When James Harden defended anybody else on the Knicks, they were 9 for 15. And last time I checked, Donovan Mitchell is still the number one option offensively for the Cavs.
Yep.
How many times did we see him standing in the corner and not touching the damn basketball?
That's something I asked Tim Legler about, that conversation coming in a moment. I'm going to continue this conversation with you in a moment on the cost of this loss for Cleveland. Here now some thoughts from that side from Mitchell and Harden.
It's one game. We could have lost by 40. Still would have been 1-0. So we just watched the film. We played, pretty solid for 3 quarters or so. We'll make adjustments and go from there.
And as the leader, what's going to be your message to the guys tomorrow?
I said in the locker room, just that. We lost. We blew it. All right, let's run for game 2. Simple as that.
James, where's the team's mentality after a game like this? Obviously, you're going to lose games in the postseason, but to be up so big, so late, how is it harder to flush a game like this?
No, we're a super confident team. Obviously we understand. We literally let one slip away, but we got a lot of positives out of this game. So we just watch film, figure out what we can correct, and put an entire game together.
We'll get the Knicks side of things in a bit. Coach Brown said we attacked Harden. That's what he said, and you saw it. Brunson hit some high-level shots. I mean, if we're being fair, and we should be, Brunson hit some high leverage shots, difficult shots, but that's what he does in the fourth quarter. Donovan says it's just one loss. He's right, but when you let one of these get away like that on the road, how much more costly is it than just what the math says it is?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's right. It is just one loss, but it's a loss that's going to cost them this series. They're going to look back at this game, and when this series is over, when they lose this series and said, man, we let one slip away. And they're going to regret every single minute, every single second of that fourth quarter. Because despite how awful they was offensively and not getting Donovan Mitchell involved or trying to get Evan Mobley on the mismatch in the low post, they still were up double digits. So at the end of the day, all you had to do was get stops. All you had to do was find some type of